Okay. All right, what I'm going to do is show you the density of various objects, of solids and of liquids. So right here, I'm going to put this here because I want you to be able to see the actual layers from a vantage point where you're going to actually be looking at it horizontally. And so if it was down here, you'd kind of be looking at it vertically. I want it to be right here, so if you want to continue just kind of looking down, you can see the different layers and which is more dense versus which is less dense. So what I'm going to do is I have blue food coloring that I've put just in regular tap water. I am going to fill it to about 50 milliliters. And then I'm going to turn it because I want you guys to be able to see the full view. So okay, 50 milliliters of blue water. Now, what I'm going to do is put in corn syrup, and as you guys can see, corn syrup is decently thick. It's still a liquid, but it's decently thick. And we're going to see what starts to happen with the different densities. So, if you watch, slowly coming, there we go. Okay, technically right now, if you just take a look, which one between the water and the corn syrup is more dense? What do you think? More dense. Corn syrup. Yeah, it's on the bottom. So which one is less dense? There you go. Okay, okay. So, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take regular syrup. Now, as you notice, they're actually pretty similar in how thick they are. That's called viscosity, and we'll be going over that when we hit layers of the earth. But they're pretty similar, so we're going to see which one actually is less dense. Okay, now why is it important that, you know when you put syrup on pancakes, you place it over and you put a lot of pressure on it and it all comes out pretty strong? Why is it important that I don't do that when I'm putting it into the solution? Who can tell me why? What do you think? Yeah, they're gonna start to mix. Is that my goal? No, my goal is not to have them completely mixed because then it's gonna get rid of the experiment. So I'm going to very gently put this in here so you can see which layer it truly belongs to. And so with that, now again, if you can't see it horizontally, you need to get a little lower so you can start to see what starts to happen. It's gonna come very gently. Okay, what are we noticing? Which is my most dense layer so far? Which one? The corn syrup. Yep, you said corn syrup. What is my middle layer? Syrup. This regular maple syrup. And then what is my least dense? Water. Water. Okay? The last layer I am going to show is oil. Now, oil, does it technically look thicker than water? Yeah. So wouldn't you naturally think that what would you think would be the least dense? Yeah, you think water, okay? See what happens when I put oil in here. Again, my goal is to just gently put it in so I don't completely ruin the mixture. What are we noticing? What is so far my most dense? Then water, then oil. Okay, I'm gonna have you very gently just show this to the camera so if they're watching, or when they watch, they can see it very clearly. Beautiful. All right, bring it back. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is actually put some solids in there. We're gonna see if they're more dense or less dense and of which layers. First thing I'm gonna do is we're just gonna do a regular nail. So again, I'm gonna bring it to the plane of this would be of the oil, because if I throw it down there, it's gonna get to the bottom regardless because I'm putting too much force into it. So usually what you do is, and you could even flatten it if I had tweezers, I'd flatten it out so it was going in more horizontally. Okay, what layer did it get to? The bottom. Did it get to the bottom? Okay, so far what's my most dense object or thing in the beaker? The nail, okay? Let's see, marble. So it's just a marble, regular marble. Regular marble. All right, let's see what happens. Yeah, it's kind of in the middle, isn't it? In between syrup and water, yeah, and it may kind of come back up, it may sink, okay? This is just a bead. Now the bead actually has a little bit of an air pocket here, so at first, if I put it upwards, he may float, and then as the, can you see, at the top, he actually hasn't broken the surface yet, so the water hasn't entered into the bead, therefore he's floating. Once it gets in there, he will actually, let me put a little, yeah, see how he's starting to sink?
Stuck on the marble.
Yep, but where does he stop?
The water.
Right at the water, at the edge of the water, starting at the syrup, okay? My last one, my biggest object,
That's gonna float.
ping pong ball, okay? Can you insanely slow, because if you move it too fast, everything will start to fall to the bottom. Show where that is. All right, so we had the nail on the bottom. The marble, which kind of sunk to the bottom just by the shifting, but he was kind of about between the, the syrups. And then we have the ping pong ball all the way on the top, and then my bead was where? Between water and, and maple syrup, okay? So in other words, we have completely different densities going on. You're gonna hit that pause button. Here's what I'm gonna do. When you